Hi everybody, this is sunny Maple Homestead where it's actually sunny, kind of warm today, and I'm Raylena again today and every day, and I about walked into the privacy fence. It's kind of hard to see right there. I was going to come over and take a checkup, show you guys how Duke and Daisy are doing. Here we go. Hi, buddy. There she comes. And there comes Miss Daisy. You guys enjoyed the sunshine today. We're still trying to build rapport with Miss Daisy. She's not a friendly cow. She's a very leery cow. And the one that we have to butcher, Duke, is a very friendly steer. Who's a pretty girl? Are you a pretty girl? See, she doesn't care how pretty she is. That's how we should all be. So, after our little checkup with Duke and Daisy here, I wanted to kind of talk to you guys a bit about spring plans, because I don't know what to do, and it's very frustrating. Been trying to plan this whole 3.5 acres out in a permaculture way since September when we went under contract to purchase, and I'm still trying to plan this out in a permaculture way. And because of the holdup on the house renovations, and all of the little bumps that we've hit, I'm running behind. So I thought I would reach out and see if anybody has any advice. So this back here is this very weird triangle piece of land. It's divided between this swale here that connects to what I call the fork in the road here, and then continues back on the other side. So and then it's bordered by our neighbor's fence. So it's just this triangle piece here. And oh, the sun's behind the barn now. So the issue is that this is their winter pasture, and I've had them over here when I can, and this is where they'll be once the ground thaws a little bit, and they can be back over here before I plant. The problem is that tomorrow's the 1st of February, and I was really hoping to be further along than this by now. In fact, I was kind of hoping to be moved in by now. And so now I'm left with a predicament of whether or not to even stress out and try to manage to put in a huge garden for this year, or whether to just calmly accept that I'm about a year behind and be okay with it in my soul. So that's where we are right now. And I'm not really, bye guys. I hear the chickens coming, but I'm not really sure what to do. So one of my ideas, and I would be very interested to know if any of you have tried this or done this, is I also want to get piglets, and I want to set them up to butcher. And I'm thinking that if I do have to be a year behind, maybe we fence this in and put the pigs over here and let them clear it, fertilize it, and clear it. He's such a drama steer. But that would clear out my grass and everything to prep me for the following year. And we do have a place to winter the pigs, the ones that are left anyway. But I'm just really on the fence about this. The other option is to try to put in a garden. Unfortunately, a lot of what I want to put in has to be started in a greenhouse that's not built yet. So I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground and understand that this is a slow process. Homesteads weren't built in a day, brick by brick. you know, piece of wood by piece of wood, and that it will all come together eventually. It doesn't have to be right now. And then the other half of my brain is, it needs to be done now, because this is what I want, and this is what I've wanted for a while, and I want it and I want to see it. So if any of you have used pigs to clear garden space, please let me know, because that would make, I think that would make my life easier. The other thing with pigs, I'm gonna spin you guys around here real quick, is I talk about these swales a lot because I just don't know what to do with them, quite frankly. So the plan right now is to put in a pond and kind of here in the fork in the road, and have it go up to where the previous people had their burn pile, and then back through the back part of their pasture, their winter paddock here. So not huge, not a huge pond, and then to dig out the swales a bit so that we have run, because a swale is supposed to help gradually put water where it needs to go by filtering it through, usually down a slope. But this land is completely saturated. I have an overabundance of water. There is water everywhere. I honestly would be shocked if this land ever actually dries up. Now, the neighbors say it does sometime around July, but the field where the permanent fencing is going to go for the rotational grazing right now is like you sink when you walk out there. So the idea, or the thought, is that I can dig out these swales a little bit and do like a little bit of a step slope, like little mini waterfalls, to help aerate it and clean it until it gets to the pond, and then it would overflow into the rest of it off property. The pigs are supposed to help seal the pond. We don't have it yet. We don't have the pigs, we don't have the pond. And so I'm trying to kill as many birds with a single stone as I can, so that I'm not 2 years behind or 3 years behind. And so I need to find a way to clear out this garden space, and I need to figure out a way to do the pond. And I really wanted a garden, but I also need to build permanent fencing to rotate the steer and the heifer through. I also need to get the heifer AI'd, but that's a whole other ball of wax. So if you guys have any experience in using pigs in that way, please let me know how it worked for you, what problems you had, and it would be a really big help if I knew kind of what you were dealing with as far as climate or soil type, because this is very wet. Even in December, we were finding crayfish, not in the creeks and the swales, in the ground, like well away from the water source. That's how wet the water or the ground is. We were finding crayfish in the soil, just everywhere. So that's where I'm at right now, is either stress out and try to get a garden in this year, or focus on clearing the ground and put the garden in next year. And for any of you who are gardeners, as I am striving to be, it like hurts my soul to think that I'm going to go another year without growing my own tomatoes or lettuce or anything, because that's kind of the point of moving to a bigger homestead. But let me know what you guys have experienced and what you guys use, because that would really, really help me out. Yeah, they're just ignoring me at this point. I don't have a bucket in my hand, which means they don't get food. So the other thing, since this is brand new as far as a homestead goes, the other thing that we are looking at is hay and our corn stalk for bedding. Trying to figure out what we're going to do. about that for next year, because obviously the tarps did not work. So I was going to put the rain barrel water catchment system on this side, but, and again, looking for advice and what you guys have done. Pictures would be great. Thinking about doing a carport-ish situation extension off of this roof and being able to use this like Joel Salatin and Justin Rhodes do, as far as overwintering cattle. I know I've only got 2 right now, but and then being able to use the pigs in here to turn that a year later after the season's over. If you guys do that, please let me know how you set it up. If it's different than the way Joel and Justin are doing it, I'd be super interested to see it. There's, I mean, Joel has so much land, and Justin does too, but, you know, if you guys have any pictures or have done something like that, let me know what your experience was. I really don't want to have to convert anything in this barn to full-fledged stalls if I don't have to, because I need the space in there for everything else. So there's just so much that needs to be done, and right now all of our focus is on the house and getting the house done, because we need to move and we need to get in. I'm driving over here multiple times a day. So I come over in the morning and I do the chickens, and then I do the cows, and then we got the barn cat who's not catching mice. But I do all of that. Right now we've got the renovations going on, so I'm doing that. And then, you know, meetings or therapy appointments for the kids or whatever, and then I'm coming back, and then we're doing the chores again in the night, and then I'm driving 20 minutes back home. And while I could, in a frugal way, go ahead and sell our house and move over here on a camper or something like that, I can't. So I'm left doing this ping pong back and forth situation until we're over here and I can really just focus on here. And it's taking a lot longer than I thought it would, honestly. And I thought I was being pretty conservative in my overall estimate. So that's not great. But that's Duke. He's such a drama queen. He's constantly yelling at me no matter where I am out here, because he thinks he should get fed no matter where I am. So the other situation, or another item on the list, I guess, is if any of you have watched Justin Rhodes or Joel Salatin or any of those guys, it's all, they often are talking about, if you have a problem, then you need to look at, you know, what are you deficient in that will help solve that problem. So an example would be, you have an abundance of grasshoppers. Okay, so you have a grasshopper problem. You don't have a grasshopper problem. You have a turkey or chicken deficiency. So situations like that, which is why I'm talking about the pigs, using the pigs to clear out the space for the garden or to seal the pond. So over here, we have a water abundance, and I don't really know how to go about what I'm deficient in to offset said water abundance, because it kind of feels like I'm just in an abundance of water. And I watch so many videos of people who are saving water and conserving water, and, you know, really focusing on how to manage that water. And here, I'm definitely trying to manage it. I'm just not sure in what is the best way to manage it, because it flows into the property and then out of the property back here. But the entire township almost that we live in is nothing's perfectly flat, but it's pretty flat, and it's pretty clay based, and it's pretty soggy. So the idea of you don't have a problem, you have a deficiency, I would love some insight on what you guys think I might be deficient in that could help with my water abundance. It's the only other way I know how to phrase it. So the other things that we are planning on doing here that are on the to-do list in no order of priority, because it's, again, that house is a priority right now. I'm still picking up the things that the sellers left here. Like, I'm not even really sure what is in this blue barrel right here. There's things that are in that blue barrel that we haven't even got to the bottom of yet. Anyway, more positive notes. We have a high tunnel hoop house that needs to be built. Fruit trees. Okay, so we talked about being behind a year, being behind 2 years. Right now, the only fruit tree I have is a lemon tree and a flower pot, a very large one, in my suburban homestead. So one of the things that we want to do to mitigate some of this water is putting fruit trees on the sides of these swales. The problem with that is that the fruit trees that we want to grow are not necessarily ones that love soggy soil. So then you enter into a situation where this back part here is our high ground, and I did not want a full orchard back here. I'd love to be able to use that space for something else. So lots of permaculture design questions going on here. But yeah, it is a water abundance. I'm not really sure what it's deficient in, but the trees need to go in to try and help mitigate some of that. The other abundance that we have is wind. Across the street from my house is an open field that faces south, and the wind here comes straight across that field and just full force. It's not windy today at all, which is so rare. Normally when we're walking toward the house, it's like head into the wind. It also comes from the west, straight across that field. So we have wind everywhere. So obviously we need wind breaks. Again, very soggy land, and researching trees that fit in said soil. You know, it's a designing, not even a designing plan, it's a designing conundrum. Let's go with that. That sounds like a decent word to use. So the other thing that we have, I love that it's getting darker later. I really do. I hate winter so bad, but at the same time, there is not anything to block the sun off of this side, which is great, but it's also blinding at times. So our winter chicken coop here, which is the full thing, I want to put in the automatic door that we have at the suburban homestead over here, so that at least the chickens can get in and out at appropriate times if I'm not able to be over here for some reason. But all of this space over here, I am trying to figure out what to do with it, because if the garden's going over here and the high tunnel is going here, then I have all of this over here that's just kind of open. And it's just, when you're at the beginning of all of this and you see all of these possibilities, and it's so much fun because you're like, oh, I could put this over here, and we could put, the cows over here, and then we could have pigs over there, and it sounds great and it's fantastic, and it's you just get that momentum going. But then you get over here and it's time to build fences, or it's time to make decisions, and then I seize up because I'm like, oh, whoa, what if that doesn't work? What if that's the wrong choice for that area? There we go. Use my phone to block the sun. So it's nerve-wracking, but from what I've seen from a lot of videos and things, it's, permaculture is all about change and adaptability. So as Joel Salatin says, you plan and build for 98% of the time, and then you babysit the other 2%. So that's what I'm trying to do. So as of right now, I just need help trying to figure out, is it okay? This big question. Is it okay to be behind, willingly be behind a year on your garden? Or is it better to go for the garden and be behind a year on your pigs? Because I don't think that both is an option this year. We're not even in the house yet. And tomorrow is February 1st. The one good thing, well, not one good thing, there's a lot of good things, but one of the good things is that my girls and Lucifer, but my girls started laying. But my chickens are, weirdly enough, we're in their winter coop now, but my chickens are the permanent, or what's the word I'm looking for? They're the rock in this entire decision-making process. They're useful for so many things. I'm using them right now to kind of go through the grasses and free range, taking them back where the heifer and steer are, letting them clean up any of the feed and everything. They're doing great. And why is it always the guys? The steer is noisy, the rooster is noisy. Why is it always the guys? So I did some makeshift nest boxes here because we haven't had time to build our nest boxes. Again, home renovations. But we are actually getting some eggs in January. Still don't know I don't know who's laying. I have no idea who's laying. But tomorrow, fingers crossed, is moving day for Pigeon. She is going to come from the suburban homestead, and she's going to come over here because she's not the only one laying anymore. And I need to eliminate something out of my life right now. And having chickens in 2 separate homes on 2 separate properties is twice the chores. Even if it's just one chicken, you're still watering and feeding and checking and everything else. So we're going to bring her over here now that the other girls are laying. It's probably going to make her stop laying with the stress of the move and everything. But the pros outweigh the cons, honestly. We need to eliminate some stress. And even though it's not that big of a deal, and I love Pigeon to death, she's such a good chicken. She really, really is. Great layer, a lot of double yolks, but I need to have one less thing on my plate. So, and if Lucifer doesn't, shape up on his attitude, he might actually be on our plates here soon, because I might just get tired of dealing with it. So that, I've been told, is what happens though when you are starting a homestead. You have decisions to make, and choices, and you have a lot to do. Like, the to-do list is never ending. In fact, I have a whiteboard above our fireplace in here that is just full of to-do lists and all these things that need to be done for the house or that need to be done before we can move. And I mark something off and I add 2 things. So it's a process, and it would be great to hear from you guys on just letting me know it's okay or it's not okay. Tell me it's not okay. Tell me to man up and put my garden in and get the pigs and deal with it. Never done this before, so we are flying by the seat of our pants, and I don't know where that expression came from. I'd be interested to find that out too. But any advice you guys could give me on next steps? Garden or animals? And we'll go from there and see what we can work out together. Thank you guys for joining me today. Sorry about that. My phone was ringing. I really appreciate it. Thanks for walking around with me and listening to my indecisiveness. Hopefully you guys can help me work it out. Have a great day.